Okay, we would like to thank you. We're going to be here for the next couple of minutes
That works for us.
talking to you about diabetes. And Carolyn, she's with us. She's here to share her personal story, her journey of diabetes and taking the insulin and all that. So we greatly appreciate you doing that, Carolyn, for us. And just feel free to chip in when you want to. So I just wanted to say last night before I came in here, I looked up on the Center of Disease Control. I said, just let me glance and try to get some statistics here. For the year 2016, it stated that over 29 million Americans were diagnosed with diabetes in 2016. 29 million people was diagnosed with that. They say that it is the 7th leading cause of death in the United States. Number 7. That's kind of way down here, be number 7. So we're going to spend the next, like I say, couple of minutes talking about just basics, very basics. You have to realize that whenever we talk about a disease, everybody is different. So this is just the basics that we're giving you and what you can do to assist your doctor. But when you go in, it'll be more customized to what your body is, what your hormones are, what your past medical history. Doctor takes all that into consideration when they're talking about diagnosing and things. So what is diabetes? So diabetes is a disease in which your blood glucose level is above normal. So most of the food that we eat turns into blood glucose, which is nothing but sugar. That's another name for sugar. So most of the food that we eat turns into sugar, and our body utilizes that for energy. That's all what diabetes is. So now the pancreas is a hormone that lies right next to the stomach. We have the stomach there, we have the pancreas lays kind of on top of that. Now that pancreas produces insulin. So when a person is diagnosed with diabetes, two things are going on. Number one, either that pancreas is not producing enough insulin and you need help, or either the pancreas is producing insulin but your body is not utilizing it well to break it down for energy into the sugars. So it needs help. So what happens when that pancreas produces the insulin and turns it into blood glucose into sugar, then it is moved into our cells, and then that's where it breaks down in energy. So if your insulin is not working after it's been produced by the pancreas, it spills over in the blood. It doesn't get to the cell. And so one of the ways you find out then is by a blood test. Because when they test your blood, then they can tell if it's sugar. There's too much sugar, that pancreas isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So therefore you need help. So when we talk about help, there's two ways you're going to get the help, which is man-made. You're either going to get a pill, or you can do it with insulin to help that pancreas move that blood sugar into the cells where it can utilize it for energy and not just kick it over in your blood. So that's what diabetes is. It can get real complicated. Like I said, we're just going to give you basic definitions of what's going on. So the first thing that you would do, you would have to be diagnosed for diabetes. Like I said, they would do that with a blood test. Most of the time, they'll send you to a little class and they have you do all that yourself. And this kit here was given to me by the manager. It's from the church. And we'll go over this. I'll let Carolyn do this. It was my intentions to test anybody, but you know, because the blood is involved, I don't have the right way to clean this machine because we're going from person to person to blood. So I won't be able to test now.
That's fine.
Being a nurse, I would need something stronger than alcohol blood or from blood to blood. But I understand when you're at home and it's your own and all that, alcohol is sufficient to clean that. But with different people here, I need something that's 100% going to kill all things. Okay. So do you want to describe for them how how they can test this at home.
Yeah, when, I test my blood sugar, at least 3 times a day. In the morning when I get up and I use this machine, have a machine like this at home. And this is, the strips come in a different box like this. Oh, I'm gonna open it. Can I open it?
Yes.
The little strips like this. Okay, all that's in here. You put them up in the machine and you take one of these. It's a needle. You take one of the gauges here and put it in here. And put this back on and turn the dial to whatever number. And my number usually be 5. And
What does that number mean? I don't understand.
that I'm sticking the needle in there.
By the
See,
time
I got
This
a
is
dial.
skin.
Oh,
Yeah.
so how far it goes,
How deep it
Pressure.
goes
how much
into,
pressure you put
okay,
on you?
Mhm.
okay.
I put it in there and then I turn it and mash it and stick my finger and then put the blood on the little strip
Mhm.
and it'll read
Okay,
my blood sugar.
okay, okay.
Good. So when she's testing this now, they're all different types of styles. Some of you may have some at home that's different from this. They all may be a little bit different, but the purpose is the same. And so all these little strips, they all have dates when expiration dates. You need to pay attention to that because it will alter the result that you have on here.
Oh,
When you're
okay.
dealing with this machine, it's important that you calibrate this. You need to check it. They give you a solution. All this stuff has to be within range for the manufacturer before you use it. Otherwise, your reading is not going to be correct when you do it. So there are some steps that you have to take before you get to actually taking your blood test.
So
Now, they
Sister
say the
Felix-
normal,
Sister Felix, so Carolyn, either one of you can't, so you can't feel that your sugar is off? I mean, can you feel it, or do you have to?
Well,
there's some symptoms.
Okay, okay.
Yes, and we're going to get it, we'll
Okay,
get on
yeah.
into that.
'Cause I'm just thinking of people in third world countries that don't have any machines. How would they know if they were diabetic? Or how would they be able to test
That's a
that?
whole different.
Oh, okay, I'm just,
That's a set.
Right. So the norm for the scale is what, about,
80 to 100.
I would say about, 125 maybe and above. They might consider normal.
125.
That's in there, yeah.
Okay.
Now, when you, and before you probably could use insulin or get on the pill, it varies now. The doctor may say you may have to be over, I'm gonna say about 200 for most of the people I have. But still, 150 to 200, you can get a diagnosis of a diabetic with that. You just might not be taking anything for it when you have that scale. Now, you have to remember, when they set this scale up, you said that you take this 3 times a day. You know
I
why?
take my insulin 3 times a day because, well, first of all, when I became a diabetic, my sugar level was 1100. Yeah, 1100. And I had to be in the hospital for a month because I didn't know that I was diabetic. By the time I got there, it messed with my vision. That's why I wear glasses, I couldn't see. And after that, I started taking like insulin 5 times a day until it, started going down and maintaining. So I went from 1100 to 500 to 400, then back up to 500 and 600 because I wasn't eating right, and every time it was jumping around. And so by the time I started going to those classes and learn how to maintain and everything, because I was on my needle, I was sticking myself with a needle, a regular needle. But now I use these, they're called flex pens. And I don't use both of them anymore. This is a long lasting flex pen. If I take this, like if I take this in the morning, then I won't have to take this no more for about 2 or 3 days. So I don't need this anymore because I done got my sugar level down to 110 and it went from 9 to 100. So now I only take this one right here as needed every other day. If I need it, like if I eat more than I should, then I check my sugar, and if I'm 180, then I take about 4, turn it to 4, and just put a needle in there, and take my sugar. That's it.
So Carolyn, if I can ask, what took you to the doctor?
Make sure we're coming.
Well,
What brought you to go in there? Did you have any symptoms?
you're very thirsty all the time, thirsty and hungry.
Yeah.
Very real thirsty, I could never get satisfied.
Yeah. But those are two big symptoms, is excessive thirst, excessive hunger,
Yeah,
and urination.
yeah.
That's a big one also.
24/7, yeah.
Right, that you have. Let me see what they also have. Unexplained weight loss,
Yeah.
vision changes,
pounds,
what you
yeah.
said your eyes and things were bothering you. Very tired most of the time. Your skin is dry. You have sores that don't heal.
Yeah,
That's another one. And then when you get there, the first thing they'll probably do is want to test your blood sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What test is this the 12-hour fasting?
Blood sugar should be a fasting, but if you're doing this, I don't know what you mean by 12 hours.
12-hour fast blood sugar. Well, you have to wait 12 hours before you eat. When you go to the doctor, they say don't eat for 12 hours.
they take
They
your
take
blood?
your blood.
No. No, it's not 12 hours. This was not. No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Mm-mm. No.
yeah, oh,
You
okay.
just take that one before. Now, when you do it from the lab and the doctors, there's, I believe it's called an A1C testing. And they fast, right, you have a random. Now, that one could be a 12-hour fast when the lab people come in. If you're doing this on your own, no, it's just before your
Oh,
meals.
okay.
So you have to think what's going on. This is where it starts to get tricky. Like she says, she take it before a meal. So she's taking this because I explained to you, all of our foods gets moved into our cells, it's gonna turn into sugar and be used for energy. So if she takes it before she eats, it's letting her know where her sugar level is. It will let you know how much insulin to take. And so that's why you take it before you eat. Now, like I said, now, being a nurse when you're working with a doctor, so you can't take it one day, it's 90, let's say she takes it one day, it's 225. The doctor said, okay, you take so much insulin, blah, blah. She takes it before lunch, before she gets ready to eat. It's different from 225, it's another one. So instead of calling the doctor, you're a nurse and you're taking care of 25, 30 patients, they give you a scale, they call a sliding scale, and it may range about 50 points from it. Maybe 150 to 200 takes so much, 201 to 250 takes so much, and it gives you a variance so that you're not calling him all the time when there's a difference. When it gets high, he may put finally, if it's 400, give her so much insulin, but then call me at that point, because 400 starts to get a little bit high, and she said hers was 1100, so that lets you know that was a big difference that she had. And then on the opposite of the scale, if it's below 60, you can have a reaction also. And then he may say, if it's under 60, do this and that, and then you call me. You give him some oranges, you give him something to try to get it up, and call me right away, because they are in a high risk zone at that point. So they give you a little variation, you know, they call it a sliding scale, so that you don't have to be calling or going to the hospital.
What happens if it gets that low?
Everything.
The low
You have
sugar?
a-
Nervous and, well, with me, when mine get under 60, I'm snappy, I'm agitated, I'm angry, I'm hungry. That's what it is.
Oh.
And I've been sweating and I know what it is, then I know I need to put some in my mouth to boost my sugar back up, and then I check it again.
Now, the ultimate thing that's gonna happen is we're gonna find you unresponsible.
I
Yeah.
have a question.
That's what you're trying to avoid when it gets that low. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, she'll be unresponsive.
Incoherent, yeah.
So that's what they call going to a diabetic coma?
Correct,
Yeah.
hypoglycemia,
Hypoglycemia.
correct.
I want to ask Carol a question. You said you dropped 40 pounds?
Yeah, I just lost weight instant, I didn't know. As a matter of fact, I thought really because I had just had back surgery, and I didn't know I was a diabetic, and I was, you know, always calling the doctor saying this medicine ain't working, because I was constantly throwing up, and I was drinking all the time, and just just going to the bathroom constantly and everything, and really my daughter was telling me, Mama, just call the doctor, go on back to the doctor. I said, well, he said he was gonna send me something for nausea and blah, 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 but then my vision, like I said, started getting blurry, and I could see you, but I couldn't see you.
Right.
You know, and stuff, and that's when I went to the doctor, and the first thing I see the doctor do, I can't see. And she said, I know what's wrong. And she flicked my finger, and it wasn't registered. She said, dial 911.
It didn't even register?
No, 1100, they don't go to 1100.
Right. Sometimes when it gets that high, it'll just say high, and you know you're in the danger zone. If it gets that low, sometimes it just say low, it wasn't even registered, it's so low. Like she said, you out at 911, you can get out of
Is
here.
that
But if
low?
it gets that low,
You got it.
if the person is still swallowing, you can try to give them something. I've had patients where I actually pour sugar, and they
Exactly.
might just to get it up there. It's not the bad, but you just want to get it up, you know, so they can get arousable and stuff. But if they're not swallowing, you're in a different ballgame. You can't put anything in because they're
Yeah.
yeah. And then that's when the dextrose, water, and all that IV and stuff come in, and they get it like that. Yes.
So that's I guess the extreme case. Okay, now I'm a diabetic, but I'm on metformin.
Right.
So which means, that's the pill. I'm not on
Okay.
insulin. But what happened is that now I have the before meal and after meal type test. Now, what would you say would be a normal reading for your A1C, say, when you test it before you eat? So that runs between, say, 90 and 110 and 120 or something like that. And then say 2 or 3 hours after you eat and you test it again, then it runs between, say, 110 and 150 after meals. So is that about normal?
It's higher after you eat.
Right, but I'm just saying, say the reading between those, is that about normal, the way it?
You know, I don't, and like I said, everybody is different, but I don't see the rationalization for taking it after you eat. You expect for it to be higher because all the food is turned to sugar.
Right, but I'm saying your range will be higher, but if it's in that range, say between that, after you eat, that's the normal reading. Then before you eat. So what I'm saying is, you test it before you eat, it's a range. Then you test it after you eat, that's a range as well. So that's the way mine, I test, you know, I kind of keep mine reading. So if it goes beyond that after you eat reading, then I know something that I ate wasn't really good for me.
Yeah, but it's gonna go up anyway after you.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but if it goes beyond that range, then I'll know that's something that I ate within the last 2 or 3 hours, whatever it was, it's something I shouldn't have eaten or something that's going against
Right.
what I eat.
Right, but there's nothing to correct, I mean, it's,
In other words, next time I'll know.
it's just for your knowledge, right? There's,
So there's
yeah.
something that I ate that I should be cautious about.
Yeah.
So you really have to be careful what you eat, think about what you're eating. So when you test it, you'll kind of know what you ate or whatever happened between that. And then, there's really something to keep in mind. So I'm not on insulin yet, but
Right.
it's like a, what is that, 6.5, about 7.0, 7.12, it's less than 8.
Yeah, and there's different types of diabetes. You have the
Type 1 and the type
insulin,
2.
correct, and then pregnant women have gestational diabetes, and which is another thing that diabetes lead to other things. They lead to heart, they lead to kidney failure, they lead to
Vision.
Well, this is what I got for my 65th birthday with diabetes.
right. And a lot of times the diagnosis may say kidney failure is secondary to diabetes, so that we know fully what's going on. It's because of diabetes that they go into kidney failures, and that leads to something else.
The
You know, so it
pre-diabetes.
starts to get,
Before you
it
get
comes.
pre-diabetes is what I added, then eventually to an diabetes.
What type of diabetes?
In other words, in other words, you
pre-diabetic.
close to it, but you're not
Oh,
actually
pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
Pre-diabetic.
Right,
And
right.
then eventually, if, you know, you don't eat right or something, then it actually turns into diabetes.
Right, right. And then again, yeah, it puts you at, in other words, they're just saying you're at high risk to get
Right.
it. Some people don't never get it pre-diabetes, and then some do.
So, Sister Miles, what do your ACL level be when you?
A1C.
A1C.
It's run between, sometimes it can go as low as, say, 95, 100, 101, and it can get up as high as 65 or 165. So it depends on what I do, how I eat, you know. So I have to watch myself. So when it's up like this, you know, I have metformin, which means that I can take either 1 tablet, 2 tablets. If it's up, then I do the 2 tablets. And if it's down, I'll take the 1 tablet during that day. So if it's up in the morning, then I do 2 tablets. If it's up at night, I do the 2 tablets. So it depends on how the A1C run. It's whether I take 1 tablet or 2 tablets. So it's no more than 3 in one day. So you do the 2 in the morning, 1 at night, or the 2 at night, 1 in the morning, however. So it depends on how your A1C is running.
Yes.
Well, you know,
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Oh,
well, see, the thing that they tell you is to make sure you get those blood tests to show what your A1C level is. And see, a lot of us don't get those, but you should request that your doctor do that, take all those different tests to see where you are in all those different areas, like your cholesterol, your blood sugar level, all of that, and then it shows you where you fall either in between or over the edge or whatever, and the doctor is constantly talking to you if it's beyond a certain level, because one of my nephews had diabetes and he was huge. He went into a diabetic, they had to induce a diabetic coma for him because they had no way, because of his weight, to get his level down, and he never came out of that coma because it was just too much that had already occurred before they looked at it. So that's why they tell African Americans who have a lot of it, and it runs in a lot of our families, to be sure you get yourself examined.
yeah.
And that
And that's,
Go ahead.
now I was gonna say, that's just like with any disease. Like the best thing you can do is to observe your eyes. You need to have a diary, what time you're taking it.
Right.
Exercise is going to change it. You know, you need to let the doctor know what you were doing when you took this. The better you are with your information, the quicker and better insights that doctor can help give you something to control that. But if he has to go in there blind and try to get all this stuff from you, it's going to take quite some time. It's going to take quite some time.
Could I just mention one thing? Now, I had a prescription every 3 months to go to the lab.
Yeah.
And what I did is I had the full panel done every 3 months. So therefore, you'll know, you know, what your kidneys are like, what your A1C,
Right.
you know, all of this. And it got to the point, it was so well under control that, you know, I was able to go, say, twice a year, so every 6 months. But it's a standing order. You don't have to make an appointment. You can just automatically go to the lab every 6 months, and they will automatically do your blood work. And therefore, you can see and track how you're doing. Plus, I keep a diary every time I do the blood pressure once a month, at least the beginning of the month, and the A1C every time I test it. I have a running log, so I can look back at it. Of course, the little machine keeps it, but I have it in a tablet, which means that I keep track of what the readings are.
Yeah.
Because the reason why they say every 3 months.
Listen,
wait a
your
minute,
letter,
uh,
I mean, the reading of what your blood pressure and your A1C is, body. I said, do they
The
send you
Kaiser
that?
does, Kaiser does.
Yeah,
know,
if you're online, they will automatically put the test online. You can go in and look at it anytime you want.
Yeah.
So you can keep your history. They will send you a copy when you do the blood work.
Right, right.
You might not have access to it.
Right.
But if you're online, when they do the test, you can go online and look at it anytime you want. Look at your whole history, look at
And you
anything
can
about
compare your
yourself.
whole history, just,
But
which
they
is
send me a
really
letter
nice.
because I'm not online.
Right, then that's the way they notify you what your readings are.
Right, so why, okay, when they send me those things,
That's for your information only.
exactly, Sister Miles, what I'm saying is, if you know this is online, you can pull it up at any time, so
Yes.
why would you have to keep a diary?
This is for my own personal use.
Oh, okay, Lorraine.
I'm one that like to put it in writing.
All right, Sister Miles, okay.
Like every 3 months, they
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
like every 3 months, they check your sugar level, but to see how you been doing with your sugar for the 3 months. The A1C,
Right.
is like mine used to be a 10, but my doctor always said it'll be better if you get to a 10,
All
but
right.
I done got mine to a 6.
All right.
And she said, that's excellent, because, you know, because every day I go to dialysis, on, like the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, the end of the month, everything that's going on inside of me come out on paper at the end of the month to tell me about everything that's going on in my body. That everything is doing the way it's supposed to be doing, and they said, well, whatever you're doing, Ms. Burley, continue to do it, because we don't have anything to say because you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
I said, well, I tried. They said, no, you're doing it. But anyway, like I said, if you continue to, go there every 3 months, like you said you do, Sister Miles, then they're gonna tell you what your A&C, whatever is, and like I said, it should be at a 7, but 6 is even better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brother Ellard's had his hand up for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, my oldest sister passed from a diabetic coma, and I just want to know, what are the signs that if you happen to see somebody and you see them going into distress, what are some of the signs that, and what can we do?
Her coma was it hyper or hypo? Hyperglycemia or hypoglycemia?
Too much sugar or
And
not
she passed
enough?
away.
I guess she hadn't gotten her insulin or something, and she went into a coma and never came out.
Yeah. If it's, let me go up. I'm trying to look at some of the cases. It's too much. Shortness of breath is the biggest one. They can't breathe, they may be sweating, they're asking for air, and if you know they're diabetic, when you're taking care of somebody, you know you got a diabetic, that's the first thing you're gonna check for any kind of disease, to check that blood sugar to kind of let you know, if you're going in there. Hypo is almost like she said, your vision change, you can have some nausea, you can get tired, you may start to have tremors. The ultimate, like I say, you're gonna walk in and find them unresponsive, and, into a coma. I work with both ways, and it is, both of them are bad, but I think hypo not enough, because it's easier to try to get it into you than when it's
that's
up.
what it was. She didn't take what she's supposed to.
Right, so that was hypo. If I had to pick out, the hypo is easier when it's up. It was a little boy, I remember, he was about 50, staying with his grandmother. And the grandmother said it was summertime, the little boy wanted some ice cream. She felt so bad for him. She just let him eat. He was a diabetic, and it got up. And that just tore that woman up to see that boy. They couldn't find veins on him. I think they went through the neck to get the jugular vein, trying to get that blood sugar down. Yeah. So when it gets high, I think that's, in my opinion, more dangerous than when it's low.
Yeah.
And then they pumping the dextrose, IV stuff in and trying to get it. But like I say, I've been successful with a couple of patients just pouring. I had sugar, orange juice is another one, with graham crackers. And sometimes I pour sugar in the orange juice just to get it up. Simple sugar is really not that good, so all it's doing is spiking it up. It's going to spike it, but at least you spike it up, you got them aroused again, and then you can go with the carbos and try to, give them a complex sugar to get it going around. One more thing, when you have diabetes, like I say, a lot of this is responsibility is onto the person. It takes a lot of preparing. So if you have it, you want to educate your family. If you have kids, I don't know, you might want to teach them how to draw up your insulin and stuff, because you don't know when you're going to have a reaction that they don't know.
So give me my shots.
Exactly.
I let Journey do it too.
Exactly. That's what you have to educate your kids
She might be the only one
to
around.
do all of this. I'm gonna get you. Just being a nurse, when you have several patients, I have worked that night shift. I come on and report, when you have insulin, we're gonna talk about the insulin soon. It peaks at a different time. And so when I come in at 11 and 12 and I'm getting a report and I have a diabetic, first thing I would ask that nurse giving me a report, did you give this man something to eat? You gave all this insulin, did you give him? You don't know how many times I was told, yes, I did. I happened to walk in there at 2 o'clock, they unresponsive. That's the worst feeling that you could get if I had to check them. The next time is at 6 o'clock. My time to get off was about 7. You give report. They want me to give insulin. Why would I shoot someone up with all this insulin? And I went about and about with this with the director of nursing. I finally got it changed. I'm not there to monitor what these people are eating, and that's my license. I'm not going to give this insulin till I see what they're eating. So the next shift had to get her, oh, she wants to put everything on us, they don't wanna do anything. But, you know, you look at these are people's lives that you are messing with, and these people are demented, you go give them all this insulin, get that from me, I'm not eating. And now you're stuck. You know, you could have a reaction like that, so you really have to be careful with this insulin in the peak times. And it normally peaks, say, for about 6 to 8 hours. So if somebody's taking insulin at night, you have short acting, which is going to take it right away. You have that long acting, they take it at night and they don't eat before they do that. It's about 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock. You better go in there, and sometimes I would just take a blood sugar just to make sure this person is all right. I'll let them know, I don't have to wake you up, I just come in and check your feet and make sure. But if they're gonna get unresponsive, it'll be about that peak time. Those are the times that you wanna go in and check them, just to make sure that they're still
That
breathing.
used to be my peak time.
Yeah.
If I been and took something and then I started feeling, and I wake up, and that's the first thing I could, and I can't see nothing.
Yeah.
I said, my sugar is too low. So I have to get up and go get something to eat, and then it'll just come right back.
Right, yeah, so the food and stuff is important, you
Yeah.
know, when you do that. Now, we was talking about the insulin, there is certain types, like you said, there's a short acting, there's a long acting. Yours is in a measured pen, there's the kind that comes in a bottle where you have to draw
Yeah,
up
I had that.
the unit yourself and you can inject that.
Yeah.
There are some insulin that you can mix together, some people are on a combination. Like I say, once you get all your information and that doctor works with you, they're gonna try to get the best one for your body type that you have. So some people mixes it up, there's some insulin that you cannot mix, so you really have to be careful when you're dealing with that insulin.
So they got the pens where you can just hit it and just go right in, and that's, is that?
Right,
Okay.
they're pre-measured, right. Yeah.
How much damage is done to is it your pancreas that's not working? Is that why you have too much sugar or not enough sugar? What's not working, your pancreas or your kidneys?
It's not creating nothing.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
What is not working, your pancreas or your kidney?
If you have diabetes.
Pancreas.
So are you
But-
damaging your pancreas when you have these extremes, too low, too high? What damage are you doing to your pancreas?
The pancreas is one that produces the insulin.
Okay,
That's
so,
what's not working to make you a diabetic, to give you the diagnosis.
so they can't make the pancreas do what it's supposed to do? There's no surgery or anything they
No,
can do to make
no,
it? So
no.
once it's been identified, you gotta live with that for life?
They can supplement it from man-made insulin.
Right, okay.
Right.
So what causes the pancreas not to make enough
That
insulin or makes too
that I
little?
couldn't answer.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that's the hormone that's involved, is that pancreas.
Okay.
Probably have to go to an endocrinologist, I guess, to get that information.
Got it, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I was wondering if it had anything to do with your diet or your exercise I mean, it just happens. There's so many people that, if you're talking about 29 million people having diabetes, that was in 2016. That's a lot of people. So it's not hereditary, it's,
Yes,
How
it is.
is it?
It is
Oh, it is hereditary?
Yes, it is, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah. Mhm.
Sister Narcissa,
Yes.
so I think that blood test that you were talking about, the one with the fasting blood sugar is for the cholesterol. You check your cholesterol. So it's
Okay,
not
for the-
it's not for the insulin.
For the 12?
Yeah, 12-hour fasting.
Yeah,
blood sugar, that's
okay.
what-
Because I haven't seen a time, but there is a fasting, there is a fasting, A1C, and it is a fasting base, most of it is before eating. So I'm trying to think, you want to talk a little bit on diet? I was reading a sheet that the other nurse, I guess someone else did it before, and she's about the diet, and where it says per se,
Right.
yeah, I understand what she's saying, that if you ask for a diabetic diet, they won't give you a list of food. But from working in the hospital, we had a diabetic diet, but that's only to let the cook know that this is what you order. And basically, it's just portion control, like she said, and that's why she has per se down there, plus no added sugar. And then it lets the assistants know that when they give in trays a diabetic diet, so they kind of glance over the tray before they hand it to that person. But there's really not a diet that's gonna tell you, it's just really portion control,
Okay.
carbohydrate control, and no added sugar, and things like that. And when you're working with demented people, it just doubles, it doubles. Cause they'll sit down there and donuts and candies, you make a mistake on that tray, and they're gonna eat it. What you put it on my tray for? I ate it, you know?
It must have been meant for me. Okay.
Exactly, and it was good too.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, so you really have to check, you know, and that's
It's like
why.
an eating plan.
Exactly.
What it really is not a diet, it's an eating plan.
Exactly, yeah. And then like I say, it's a check system, because so many people are handling those trays, so everybody can glance over it. And So, is there anything else you could think of? that you,
One other thing, is that I keep the glucose tablets, and just in case it get too low, that gives you a 30-minute leeway where you can, do whatever is necessary for little glucose tabs.
Yeah.
It's good to have on hand for diabetics.
Right, well, in the hospital, we have the glucagon, we have the injection.
Right,
And if
well,
it got
I'm
low-
not there, I'm still at the pill.
Right, right, that's why I said we were in the hospital, so we had the,
Yeah,
we had the vials, we just draw up and shoot.
I'm allergic to pain, so that I got to the
And it could, we tell our patients, it's either 1 minute of pain or it might be something permanent.
That keeps me in mind, I don't want to get to the pain part.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stay in a position where I can stay on the pills a little,
Yeah.
Right. And they used to say hard candy, but like I said, you really gotta be careful because if they become unresponsive, they can't even swallow. And then you got double trouble on your hands.
So do you go in a coma if you're high? Why was Carolyn still walking around and her number was 111? 1100. Why was she still walking around?
You know, I don't know what the cutoff is. Now, that person
depends on the
that,
person.
I took care of that little boy, I don't even think his was in the 1,000, but his was that high.
It depends on the
You
person's
know,
system.
right, I don't know what it would take to put her, go over that, and both, I wouldn't want to try it, I wouldn't want to,
It's
yeah.
bad, one person may not be bad, but
But God.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Full of guns.
So we're gonna look at this video, and so Carol may answer a couple more questions, that's it.
Today, we'll be having a special topic on diabetes. And I'm going to introduce you to our special guest, Carolyn Rutledge. Hello, Sister Carolyn.
Hi, Brother Matt.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I want to thank you for participating in our health ministry. Today, we're going to be talking about diabetes. And I have a Q&A for you. And if you would just respond to the questions as we go, it would be well appreciated. First of all, are you diabetes type 1 or type 2?
I'm type 2.
So what's the difference?
Well, type 1, you don't make any insulin at all. In type 2, you make some insulin.
Hello? Oh, okay. So if you're type 2, does that mean you have to go on insulin?
Well,
Hello, everyone. I'm Brother Matthew Johnson, and I'm a representative of the Diane Avenue Church of Christ Health Ministry. Today, we'll be having a special topic on diabetes, and I'm going to introduce you to our special guest, Carolyn Rutledge. Hello, Sister Carolyn.
hi, Brother Matt.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. I want to thank you for participating in our health ministry. Today we're going to be talking about diabetes, and I have a Q&A for you, and if you would just respond to the questions as we go, it'll be well appreciated.
Okay.
First of all, are you diabetes type 1 or type 2?
I'm type 2.
So what's the difference?
Well, type 1, you don't make any insulin at all. In type 2, you make some insulin.
Oh, okay. So if you're type 2, does that mean you have to go on insulin?
Well, yes and no. I started off on the pills. And, well, let me go back. The reason I ended up on the insulin is that when I became a diabetic, my sugar was 1100.
Oh,
And that's unheard of.
okay.
And being a type 1, I would have been in a coma.
What?
But being type 2, therefore I didn't go in a coma. I just lost my sight. That's why I wear glasses now.
Is that
It messed
right?
with my vision.
Wow. You
Yeah.
might have to check that out and see if it's not affecting my vision.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you reverse diabetes?
Yeah, you can lose weight and do what the doctors tell you to do.
So, why is it okay to eat fruit when it's full of carbs?
Well, you know, the fruit, the canned fruit is worse than the regular fruit
Okay.
because, you know, there's more nutrition and there's more sugar in the canned fruit than it is the regular fruit. And I had the list, but I forgot the different type of fruits that we can eat while we're on diabetic. You know, since being a diabetic, you got to be limited to certain things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have a personal question. Do you carry food with you on road trips? You know, like when we go to Fourth Sunday Singing?
Not all the time, but most of the time, I bring something here to church and eat it that morning.
Uh-huh.
And by the time we get ready to go on that trip, I can eat just about what I want because my sugar level, I test my sugar.
Okay.
Before I leave, I usually test my sugar 3 times a day to make sure, because, you know, you have to be a certain, either I'm gonna took my insulin, and the insulin gonna ate up everything that's already inside of me and drop my sugar down
Oh.
low enough. And your sugar level need to be anywhere between 80 to 110 for it to be normal. And then you take that shot, and then the insulin gonna, by the time you get ready to eat, it'll gonna came back up to where it need to be at.
Okay. So how often do you take insulin?
Well, I take insulin as needed now. I used to take it 5 times a day. Now I take it only when I need it because I done got my sugar level maintained.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Mhm.
So, how do you get motivated to take care of yourself?
Just pray and try to stay around positive people.
Amen. Amen. Now, everyone needs a support group. And today we have a support group here at Diane Avenue that wants you to know that we love you, and if you need anything from us, we'll be there for you. If you support group, please come in.
We're her support group. We're her support group.